Hello there, and welcome to the Cosmic Lullaby Channel. Tonight, we do not drift into a gentle slumber. We embark on a descent, a strategic briefing on a world that lies hidden in plain sight, a world that dictates our climate, our economy, and the balance of global power. We will be exploring a vast blue world, slowly sinking deeper into the hidden places where sunlight cannot reach, where mysteries linger in the darkness. But these are not just mysteries of nature. They are secrets of immense strategic value, economic potential, and geopolitical significance. The ocean covers the majority of our planet, a sprawling liquid frontier that remains one of the least explored realms we know. It is the final unconquered territory on Earth. Beneath its waves, entire mountain ranges lie concealed, with peaks far taller than any on land. Rivers and lakes of dense, toxic brine flow silently across its floor, landscapes from another world. And in the crushing blackness, creatures thrive, glowing with a mysterious living light in places where no sunshine has ever fallen. This is not a journey for the merely curious. This is an analysis of the planet's most critical and most ignored domain. All you need to do is focus. Allow your mind to sharpen and let the facts guide you. Let us begin the descent. The ocean covers more than 70% of the Earth's surface. When our astronauts look back at our planet from the cold vacuum of space, it is not the greens of the forests or the browns of the continents that define our home. It is blue, an overwhelming, dominant, powerful blue. Over 70% of our planet is submerged beneath this immense body of water, stretching in an unbroken expanse for thousands upon thousands of miles. Consider the ocean alone. It is a basin so vast, it could comfortably hold all of Earth's continents combined, with room to spare. This is not merely a geographic feature. It is the engine of our world. This colossal body of water fundamentally shapes every aspect of life on this planet. It dictates our climate, absorbing solar heat and redistributing it across the globe in a complex dance of currents that create the weather patterns rippling across nations. It generates the very air we breathe. It governs the rhythm of our days through the relentless pull of the tides. And yet, from our perspective on the shore, the ocean feels like a boundary, a final horizon, the very edge of our world. But that perception is a dangerous illusion. The truth is, it is the ocean that defines our planet. Earth is not a terrestrial sphere dotted with water. It is, and always has been, a water world. And here lies a critical intelligence gap, a vulnerability of planetary scale. We have explored less than 5% of it. Despite our advanced satellites, our nuclear submarines, and our decades of scientific progress, we have mapped and seen only a sliver of what lies beneath the waves. Less than 5% of the global ocean has been truly explored, charted, and understood, which means that a staggering 95% of our own planet's largest feature remains a complete and utter mystery. We possess more detailed maps of the surface of the Moon and even Mars than we do of the seafloor of our own world. This isn't just a scientific curiosity, it is a strategic liability. Beneath that unexplored surface, vast mountain ranges and abyssal plains stretch for thousands of miles, completely unseen. In these depths, entire species of life are born and die in absolute darkness, never once glimpsed by a human eye. Every deep-sea expedition returns with evidence of creatures so profoundly strange they seem drawn from the pages of science fiction. transparent predators that hunt by ambush, fish with anatomy that defies terrestrial biology, and organisms that may hold the keys to new medicines and technologies. The ocean is not just unexplored, it is almost entirely unknown. And in a world driven by resources, information, and strategic advantage, the unknown is a domain of immense risk and unparalleled opportunity. Every dive, every submersible mission is like stepping onto an undiscovered planet with secrets waiting in the dark that could reshape our future. The deepest point we have ever discovered is a place of almost unimaginable hostility. It is the Challenger Deep, located in the Mariana Trench. Its depth is difficult to comprehend. If you were to take Mount Everest, the tallest peak on land, and place it into the trench, its summit would still be submerged, more than a mile beneath the waves. At nearly 7 miles deep, the pressure is over 1,000 times greater than what we experience at the surface. It is a pressure so immense it would crush a military submarine as easily as a tin can. It is a realm of absolute crushing darkness, far beyond the faintest reach of sunlight. Yet, against these impossible odds, life persists. The race to conquer this final terrestrial frontier has been as challenging as the race to the stars. Only a handful of submersibles have ever made the perilous descent, and each time they have returned with data and images of a silent, alien world. The creatures that survive there are masterpieces of extreme adaptation. Their bodies are soft and gelatinous, without air pockets, designed to withstand the crushing force. Many use bioluminescence, generating their own light to communicate, to lure prey, and to navigate the eternal night. To stand on the peak of a mountain feels like touching the sky, but to descend into Challenger Deep is to touch the very foundation of our world, a place that represents the absolute limit of exploration on Earth. Beneath the ocean, the landscape is anything but flat. It is a domain of violent topography, a hidden battle space of geological forces. Entire mountain ranges rise and fall across the seafloor, dwarfing their terrestrial counterparts. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge is the prime example. It is not merely a mountain chain, it is the longest on Earth, a colossal seam stretching for over 40,000 miles, winding its way through the dark like a jagged spine. Most of this immense structure is hidden far below the waves, invisible to us, its existence confirmed only by the cold digital pulse of sonar mapping. These mountains are not dead rock. They are alive, born from the very engine of our planet as tectonic plates grind and spread apart. New Earth is forged here every single day as molten rock pushes the seafloor apart, widening the ocean basins inch by inch. This is not a passive geological feature, it is an active strategic frontier. The mineral wealth contained within these unexplored ridges is estimated to be worth trillions. Cobalt, manganese, and rare earth elements, vital for modern technology and defense systems, lie waiting in the dark. Nations are already maneuvering for control, mapping these zones and filing claims under international law, preparing for a future of deep-sea mining. In some places, these ridges breach the surface, forming volcanic islands like Iceland, where the raw power of fire and ice meets above the waves. We walk across the mountains of the land, believing we have conquered them. But entire worlds of peaks, cliffs, and ridges remain concealed beneath the sea, an uncharted wilderness of immense economic and military significance. The sheer volume of water contained in our oceans is a fact of staggering geopolitical importance. Nearly all of Earth's water, about 95% of it, is held in this single interconnected basin. The lakes and rivers that define our maps, The glaciers and ice sheets that we see as vast reservoirs are in truth only a tiny fraction of the planet's total supply. If you could somehow drain all the oceans and gather the water into a single sphere, it would form a colossal ball of liquid more than 800 miles across. A body so massive it would dwarf everything on the surface. This is not just a collection of waves. It is the heart of a global system that cycles water endlessly between sea, sky, and land. It delivers the rain that feeds our agriculture, sustains our rivers, and supports every living thing on this planet. Without this vast engine, there would be no weather as we know it, no stable climate, and no life. The ocean isn't just a part of Earth's water cycle, it is the very heart of it. It is the ultimate strategic buffer, absorbing the vast majority of the excess heat and carbon we produce. But that buffer has limits. As it warms and acidifies, its ability to regulate the global climate is compromised, turning a source of stability into a driver of chaos, from superstorms to collapsing ecosystems. Control of the ocean and the technology to harness its water through desalination is rapidly becoming a key element of national power in an increasingly resource-scarce world. The disparity in our exploration priorities reveals a historical and now outdated strategic calculation. Since 1969, a total of 12 human beings have walked on the surface of the Moon, a desolate rock 250,000 miles away. Yet, in that same time, fewer than half that number have descended to Challenger Deep, the lowest known point on our own planet. It is a stunning fact. We have achieved interplanetary travel more often than we have achieved a full manned descent into our own oceans. The reason is a brutal matter of physics. The deep sea is, in many ways, a more hostile environment than outer space. The pressure in the abyss is so extreme that a human body would be instantly obliterated without the most advanced protection. The engineering required to build a vessel that can withstand such forces is a technological challenge as great, if not greater, than launching a rocket into orbit. The Cold War drove us to the Moon as a demonstration of ideological supremacy. But the new Cold War is being fought in the deep. Unmanned drones patrol these depths, mapping the seafloor for resource exploitation and submarine warfare. Nations are racing to develop the technology to operate in and control this domain. And when our explorers do reach these crushing depths, they find life, clinging to rocks and drifting through the dark. It is proof that even in the most hostile corners of our own world, life endures. But it is also a reminder that this frontier, once ignored, is now the central stage for the next great power competition. The overall mood, not for the stars, but for the abyss. When we think of volcanoes, we imagine the iconic, fiery mountains on land. Molten lava spilling into the air, ash clouds blocking out the sun. But this is a deeply misleading picture. The vast majority of volcanic activity on our planet is hidden, occurring silently and constantly beneath the sea. Along the mid-ocean ridges, the Earth's crust is perpetually tearing itself open, and molten rock seeps upward, forming new crust in a process of ceaseless creation. At any given moment, countless underwater eruptions are reshaping the planet's surface, far from human sight. Some of these eruptions are so massive, so violent, that they create new land, building mountains from the seafloor that breach the surface as new islands. This is not just geology, it is the creation of new sovereign territory. A new island born in international waters sets off a complex cascade of diplomatic and legal maneuvering as nations scramble to claim the new land and the vast exclusive economic zone that comes with it.
Other, smaller eruptions go unnoticed, their lava cooling instantly in the frigid water, creating bizarre formations like pillow basalt, rounded stones that look like frozen bubbles. The ocean floor is a vast volcanic factory, recycling the Earth's crust. But it also fuels hydrothermal vents, spewing out a cocktail of superheated, mineral-rich water that sustains unique ecosystems. These vents are now a primary target for deep-sea mining interests, believed to be rich in gold, silver, copper, and zinc. What we witness on land is only a fraction of the Earth's true fire. The real heart of its volcanic power and the immense resource potential it represents lies hidden in the deep sea.
Stretching for more than 1,400 miles along the coast of Australia is a structure so immense it is visible from space. It is the Great Barrier Reef, the largest living structure on the planet. From orbit, it appears as a delicate patchwork of coral, sand, and sea, glowing in brilliant shades of turquoise and green. But the reef is not a single organism. It is a metropolis built by billions upon billions of tiny coral polyps, each no bigger than a grain of rice. Over millennia, their limestone skeletons accumulate, forming towering walls, submerged islands, and sheltered lagoons. This structure is not merely beautiful, it is a critical piece of global biological infrastructure. It creates habitat that supports an astonishing variety of life. A full quarter of all known marine species depend on coral reefs for their survival, even though these habitats cover less than 1% of the ocean floor. The Great Barrier Reef is not just an ecosystem, it is a vital economic engine for Australia, supporting tens of thousands of jobs in tourism and fishing. But it is also a canary in the coal mine for the planet. As ocean temperatures rise due to climate change, the corals are bleaching and dying on an unprecedented scale. Its health is a direct indicator of the stability of the entire ocean system. The death of the reef would not just be an ecological catastrophe, it would be a severe economic and geopolitical event, signaling a tipping point in the planet's climate crisis. It is a living city beneath the sea, a wonder of the world, and now a front line in the battle for our planet's future. The age of discovery is not over, it has simply moved underwater.
Every year, scientists catalog thousands of new marine species, from microscopic plankton to deep-sea giants that defy our understanding of biology. Some of these discoveries happen in shallow waters, a new species of fish or coral found hiding in plain sight among well-studied reefs. But most emerge from the deep, brought up by research submersibles or accidentally caught in fishing nets. These are bizarre creatures with glowing lures, transparent bodies, and teeth like needles. Yet experts are unanimous on one point: we have barely scratched the surface. By some credible estimates, as many as 2/3 of all marine species remain completely unknown to science. This is not merely about filling in the pages of textbooks. This is about a new frontier for resource discovery known as bioprospecting. The unique genetic and biological properties of these deep-sea organisms, adapted to extreme pressure and darkness, could hold the keys to new pharmaceuticals, industrial enzymes, and biomaterials. The race is on, not just to discover these species, but to patent their genetic codes. It raises profound legal and ethical questions. Who owns the rights to a life form discovered in international waters? The nation that funded the expedition? The corporation that develops the product? Or is it the common heritage of humankind? In a world where so much feels mapped and measured, the ocean remains a final wild frontier. It reminds us that discovery is not a thing of the past, but something happening every single day, with immense economic stakes waiting in the dark. Bioluminescence is one of the ocean's most potent strategic tools. Countless creatures, from microscopic plankton to colossal squid, can produce their own light. In the tactical environment of the deep sea, this is a double-edged sword. Some organisms flash suddenly, a defensive maneuver designed to startle predators and create an opportunity for escape. Others glow with a soft, steady light, a calculated signal to attract mates, or, more lethally, to lure prey into a trap. In the perpetual twilight of the abyss, the anglerfish dangles its glowing lure, a pinpoint of false hope that tricks smaller victims into swimming directly toward their own demise. This light is not a reflection. It is generated through complex chemical reactions inside the animals themselves, a living technology that turns the absolute blackness of the deep into a shifting galaxy of living stars. For modern naval forces, this natural illumination is a critical factor in underwater warfare. A submarine, designed for ultimate stealth, can inadvertently trigger a cascading bloom of bioluminescent plankton, creating a glowing wake that is visible from satellites, betraying its position to an enemy. The ocean itself becomes a living sensor network. These glows are signals, warnings, disguises, and traps. Entire ecosystems operate on a language of light, a silent, flickering battlefield where survival depends on who can control their own visibility. The race to understand and weaponize these principles is underway, as military scientists study this biological technology for its potential in creating new forms of camouflage, decoys, and underwater detection systems. Every single evening, as the sun sets and darkness falls across the sea, the largest migration on Earth begins in total silence. This is the diurnal vertical migration, the greatest daily movement of life on our planet, yet it is almost entirely invisible to us. Billions upon billions of tiny organisms, zooplankton, rise from the crushing pressure of the depths toward the surface. They ascend to feed on the microscopic plants that grow in the sunlit shallows. But they are not alone. Following them is an entire food chain. Small fish, squid, and other predators rise to feast on the plankton. And behind them, even larger hunters are drawn into the great upward surge. At dawn, the entire mass retreats, a synchronized descent back into the darkness to avoid the gaze of predators from above. This migration is not just a biological curiosity. It has profound strategic implications. This dense, moving layer of life creates what naval sonar operators call the deep scattering layer. It is a false bottom, a massive biological shield that can reflect sonar signals, creating ghost images of the seafloor or, more critically, hiding a submarine from detection. A vessel can use this living curtain to mask its movements, turning the planet's own life cycle into a tool of stealth. This migration is also a fundamental component of the global carbon pump. By feeding at the surface and carrying that carbon down into the deep, these creatures play a vital role in regulating our planet's climate. It is the very heartbeat of the ocean, pulsing in time with the sun, a hidden tide of living things that impacts everything from global food security to the operational success of a multi-billion-dollar submarine. It sounds impossible, a contradiction in terms, but deep beneath the ocean, there are places where water gathers into pools and flows in rivers. These are not made of water as we know it. They are known as brine pools, bizarre formations created where super salty, dense water seeps from the seafloor, often laden with dissolved minerals and gases like methane. Because this brine is so much heavier and denser than the surrounding seawater, it sinks, settling into depressions on the ocean floor and forming shimmering, ghostly lakes that lie within the greater sea. Submersibles that have visited these sites return with footage of an alien world.
These pools have defined shorelines and ripples that move across their surface like waves on a pond. But they are deadly. For most marine life, these pools are toxic traps. The salt and chemical levels are so extreme that any creature that swims or falls into them is instantly pickled and preserved. Yet, life finds a way. At the very edges of these lethal lakes, strange and unique communities of extremophiles flourish, adapted to thrive at the boundary between two profoundly different worlds. These organisms are of intense interest to astrobiologists. They provide a model for how life might survive in the subsurface oceans of moons like Europa or Enceladus, where similar chemical-rich, high-pressure environments could exist. In the deepest, darkest corners of our own planet, the ocean hides landscapes that feel more like undiscovered planets than a part of Earth, pushing the very definition of what is possible for life. Far below the waves, in the absolute darkness of the abyss, the seafloor is slowly but inexorably splitting open. Along the mid-ocean ridges, molten rock wells up from the Earth's mantle, creating new oceanic crust and pushing the tectonic plates of our world apart. This process, known as seafloor spreading, is one of the fundamental engines of our planet. It is happening constantly, day and night, reshaping the globe at a pace too slow for us to feel, but with a force that is almost beyond measure. Over millions of years, this silent, relentless process has opened entire oceans, shifted continents, and built the towering underwater mountain ranges that dwarf anything on land. The mid-Atlantic ridge, where this spreading is most active, runs for tens of thousands of miles, a colossal seam on the planet's surface.
A natural male narrator is being born here. Rock that will one day rise to form continents, islands, or mountains. This is not just a geological curiosity. It is a process of resource creation. As the new crust forms, it brings with it vast, untapped deposits of critical minerals. Understanding these rift zones is therefore a key aspect of strategic resource mapping for future generations. Though hidden under miles of water, the process unfolding in the deep is what gives shape to the world we know, and it is the primary driver of the planet's most violent and destructive events. Many of the most powerful earthquakes do not begin on land. They are born in the deep, along the shifting fault lines where these tectonic plates grind against one another. When these plates, locked in a tense embrace for centuries, suddenly slip, the energy released is catastrophic. It ripples upward into the sea, displacing entire walls of water with unimaginable force. This is the genesis of a tsunami, a wave that can travel across entire ocean basins at the speed of a jet, carrying the energy of a nuclear weapon. At sea, a tsunami might pass almost unnoticed, a slight, almost imperceptible rise of the water. But as it approaches the shallow waters of a coastline, its energy compresses and it builds into towering walls that can reshape coastlines in mere moments. The 2011 Tohoku tsunami in Japan was a brutal demonstration of this power, crippling a G7 nation and triggering a nuclear meltdown. The event sent economic and political shockwaves around the globe. In response, the world has built sophisticated warning systems, a network of seismographs and deep ocean buoys designed to provide precious minutes of warning.
The overall mood of global cooperation, a recognition that the ocean's power is a threat that transcends national borders. But it is a fragile system, dependent on shared data and trust. A reminder that the power unleashed from the deep can humble even the most advanced nations. Hidden beneath the waves are geological features of a scale that is difficult to comprehend. Enormous canyons carved into the continental shelves plunge thousands of feet deep, rivaling or even surpassing the scale of the Grand Canyon on land. These submarine canyons were formed over eons by ancient rivers, catastrophic landslides, and powerful undersea currents. They act as immense funnels, channeling sediments and nutrients from the coast down into the abyssal plains of the deep ocean. Monterey Canyon off the coast of California is a prime example. It is more than twice as deep as the Grand Canyon, a colossal scar on the edge of the continent that holds clues to Earth's ancient history. But these canyons are far more than geological wonders. They are critical strategic features in the modern naval battle space. For a submarine, a deep canyon is the ultimate hiding place. Its steep, complex walls scatter active sonar signals, creating acoustic shadows where a multi-billion-dollar vessel can disappear completely. A navy with superior bathymetric maps of these canyons holds a decisive tactical advantage in anti-submarine warfare. They are the silent highways and hidden valleys of the deep, sheltering unique ecosystems on their walls, but also providing the perfect ambush points for the unseen predators of the modern age. When people think of the lungs of the planet, they almost always picture the vast green expanse of the Amazon rainforest. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding of our world's life support system. In truth, the majority of the oxygen we breathe, the very air that keeps us alive, comes from the ocean. Tiny, microscopic organisms called phytoplankton drift through the upper layers of the sea, turning sunlight into energy through photosynthesis. In the process, they release oxygen into both the water and the air. These microscopic plants are so numerous and their collective reach so vast that together they produce more than half of all the oxygen on Earth. Every single breath you take is a gift from the sea. From space, vast blooms of this plankton can be seen as milky green swirls spreading across the ocean surface, sometimes covering areas larger than entire countries. But their existence is precarious. They are acutely sensitive to changes in ocean temperature and acidity. A collapse in phytoplankton populations would not just suffocate the planet, it would trigger a catastrophic failure in the global food web, destroying the multi-trillion-dollar fishing industry and jeopardizing the food security of billions of people. These tiny drifters, invisible to the naked eye, quietly sustain all life on Earth, proving that the greatest and most important forests are not made of trees at all.
The microscopic life in the ocean does not just produce the air we breathe. It actively manages the planet's climate, operating as the most powerful and efficient carbon sequestration system in the world. Phytoplankton absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere as they grow, incorporating it into their tiny bodies. When these organisms die, a portion of that carbon sinks with them into the deep sea, where it can remain locked away in the sediment for thousands, even millions of years. This process is known as the biological pump, and it is one of Earth's most powerful climate regulators. Without it, our atmosphere would hold far more carbon dioxide, and the planet would be catastrophically hotter. The sheer scale of this operation is almost beyond comprehension. Billions of these organisms can fit into a single teaspoon of water. Yet, together, their collective action shifts the chemical and thermal balance of the entire planet. This natural service has a calculable economic value, estimated in the trillions of dollars annually. Yet it is a service for which no one pays, and which we are actively degrading through pollution and ocean warming. The failure of the biological pump is a scenario that haunts climate scientists and strategic planners alike. It represents a tipping point from which there may be no return. A reminder that the tiniest forms of life, invisible to the naked eye, hold the power to shape the destiny of our world.
Beneath the surface, the ocean is in constant, powerful motion. Great currents, like planet-sized rivers, loop around entire basins, carrying warm water from the tropics toward the poles and returning cold, nutrient-rich water back again. This global circulation, often called the Great Ocean Conveyor Belt, is the central nervous system of the Earth's climate.
The overall mood balances temperatures, moves nutrients that support global fish stocks, and directly shapes the weather on continents thousands of miles from any shore. The Gulf Stream, for instance, is a critical component of this system. It carries immense warmth across the Atlantic, keeping Europe's climate far milder than it should be for its latitude. London is at a higher latitude than Calgary, Canada, yet its winters are dramatically less severe, a direct gift of the ocean's heat transport. But this conveyor is not invincible. It is a system driven by a delicate balance of heat, wind, and salinity. Climate models now predict that the influx of fresh, cold meltwater from Greenland's ice sheets could disrupt this balance, slowing or even shutting down the conveyor belt. The consequences would be catastrophic. Europe would be plunged into a deep freeze. North American weather patterns would become violently unstable. Global agriculture would face unprecedented disruption, leading to famine, mass migration, and international conflict. The stability of this hidden current is not an environmental issue. It is a matter of global security. When the wind blows across the open sea for long enough, waves begin to build. Most break harmlessly on a nearby shore. But some, known as swell waves, can travel for thousands of miles across entire ocean basins, carrying the memory of the storm that birthed them across half the world. A storm that rages in the desolate Southern Ocean can send waves rolling all the way to the distant beaches of California or Japan. These waves move with a steady, powerful rhythm, their energy undiminished by their immense journey. Surfers sometimes ride swells that began a storm's weeks earlier and oceans away. This is the physical manifestation of global connectivity, the energy of one part of the planet directly impacting another. To stand on a shore and feel the pulse of these waves is to connect with distant places, knowing that the energy began far beyond the horizon. For global shipping, these swells are a constant factor in navigation, a source of both opportunity and risk. For naval operations, understanding swell patterns is critical for everything from carrier takeoffs to amphibious landings. The sea itself is a messenger, sending whispers of far-off storms across the globe, one rolling crest at a time. Most ocean waves rise just a few feet high, breaking gently on our beaches. But out at sea, under the right conditions, waves can grow to staggering, monstrous heights. The tallest wave ever reliably recorded by scientific instruments was a wall of water more than 100 feet high, taller than a 10-story building. These giants form during violent storms when powerful winds and converging currents align, stacking energy into a single, terrifying crest. To sailors and naval commanders, such waves are awe-inspiring and terrifying. They are towering walls of water that can swallow ships whole, snapping the steel hulls of supertankers and warships. These are not the stuff of myth. They are a documented reality of the maritime environment. The ocean is not a benign highway for our commerce and military power. It is a wild, untamed battle space where the raw power of nature can dwarf our most advanced technology. For every calm shoreline, there are vast, lawless places where the sea lifts itself into mountains, proving that water in motion can rival the greatest and most destructive forces on land. The existence of such waves is a permanent, humbling reminder of the risks inherent in operating on the world's oceans. Out in the open sea, there exists a threat that for centuries was dismissed as myth.
A phenomenon that defies conventional prediction.
Sailors would speak of a wave that comes out of nowhere, a solitary, vertical wall of water rising like a liquid cliff from an otherwise calm sea. These are rogue waves. And for generations, they were thought to be nothing more than tall tales, the frightened exaggerations of mariners. But modern instrumentation, from satellite altimetry to pressure sensors on oil platforms, has confirmed their terrifying reality. Rogue waves can tower more than 100 feet high, twice the height of the waves around them, forming suddenly from the complex merging of smaller swells. They can appear under clear skies or strike in the middle of a storm, then vanish just as quickly as they came. For global commerce, they represent a catastrophic, unpredictable risk. A single rogue wave can snap a supertanker in half or sweep the entire deck of a container ship clean, sending billions of dollars worth of goods to the bottom of the ocean in an instant. Ships that encounter them and survive often report being lifted like toys, their decks briefly facing a vertical wall of water higher than a lighthouse. Though we now know they exist, their exact triggers remain a dangerous mystery, a reminder that the ocean can, at any moment, produce a power that defies our best forecasts and threatens the vital arteries of the global economy. It seems to violate the very laws of physics, but deep beneath the waves, water itself can fall like rain, tumble in rivers, and cascade over cliffs in waterfalls taller than any on land. One of the largest is hidden beneath the Denmark Strait, a crucial naval choke point between Greenland and Iceland. There, frigid, dense water from the Arctic seas meets warmer, lighter water from the Atlantic. The overall mood sinks, creating a massive, continuous downward flow. This underwater waterfall plunges more than 2 miles, nearly 4 times taller than Angel Falls, the tallest waterfall on land. Yet, because it happens in the silent darkness of the deep sea, it is completely invisible to human eyes. This is not a mere curiosity. These colossal underwater cascades are a fundamental component of the global ocean conveyor belt. They act as powerful engines, driving the circulation that transports oxygen from the surface to the deep sea, which is essential for all life in the abyss. They also regulate global currents, playing a quiet but critical role in stabilizing Earth's climate. Imagine a waterfall so vast it could swallow mountains, rushing downward unseen for millennia, shaping the hidden world beneath the waves. It is a secret cascade, flowing endlessly in the dark, a vital organ of the planetary system that we are only now beginning to understand. At the bottom of the ocean, the pressure is beyond all terrestrial comprehension. For every 33 feet of depth, the pressure increases by the weight of Earth's entire atmosphere. By the time you reach the Challenger Deep, it is over 1,000 times what we feel at the surface. The most advanced nuclear submarine would be crumpled like a soda can. And yet, life still flourishes there. Creatures in the Hodl Zone, the ocean's deepest realm, have adapted in ways that challenge our understanding of biology and material science. They have flexible, gelatinous bodies, special proteins that resist being crushed, and unique cellular structures that function perfectly under a weight that would pulverize steel. Some have no air pockets inside them at all, so there is nothing to collapse. The overall mood of everything is wonders. They drift gracefully, luminous or ghost-like, as if the crushing weight of the entire world above means nothing to them. These organisms are not just biological wonders, they are blueprints. They represent the frontier of bioprospecting. The secrets encoded in their DNA could lead to breakthroughs in high-pressure industrial processes, advanced materials, and medical treatments. These beings remind us that life is astonishingly adaptable, able to survive conditions that seem utterly impossible. They prove that nature has already solved engineering challenges that we are only beginning to contemplate. On land, sunlight is the foundation of everything. Plants need it, animals chase it, and our entire civilization is guided by its daily rhythm. But in the abyss of the ocean, the light never arrives. And still, life thrives in absolute, eternal night. There are fish that have never seen the sun, crustaceans that navigate only by touch, and entire colonies of bacteria that consume chemicals instead of light. In the deep trenches and under thick layers of polar ice, these creatures carry on their entire lifetimes in a world without a day. Many have no eyes, or their eyes are so faint they are useless. Instead, they have developed incredible senses to detect faint vibrations, subtle changes in heat, or the microscopic chemical trails left by their prey. To us, darkness feels empty, a void. But in the ocean's depths, it is filled with quiet, purposeful activity. This discovery had profound implications beyond our own planet. It proved that the sun is not a prerequisite for life. In these hidden places, life rewrote the rules, demonstrating that survival is not limited to the world the sun can reach.
It opened up the very real possibility of life in the subsurface oceans of icy moons in our own solar system, turning deep-sea exploration into a dress rehearsal for the search for extraterrestrial life. In the late 1970s, scientists exploring the deep sea made a discovery that would fundamentally rewrite our understanding of life itself. They found towering chimneys of rock rising from the seafloor, spewing plumes of black, boiling water into the abyss. These were hydrothermal vents, cracks in the Earth's crust where seawater seeps down, is heated near molten rock, and then bursts back out laden with a rich cocktail of minerals and chemicals. Around these vents, in absolute darkness and under crushing pressure, life thrived. Not with energy from the sun, but from the chemistry of the Earth itself. Bacteria were feeding directly on the toxic minerals, converting them into energy through a process called chemosynthesis. Larger creatures like giant tube worms, crabs, and shrimp then relied on these bacteria for food. Entire ecosystems, vibrant and complex, were existing in complete isolation from the sun. For the first time, scientists realized that sunlight was not the only way to power life. This was a paradigm shift. It proved that heat and chemicals alone could sustain entire communities. The discovery reshaped how we imagine the potential for life, not only on Earth, but on the distant icy moons of Jupiter and Saturn, where similar chemical-rich oceans may be hidden beneath the ice. In the black depths near these hydrothermal vents, strange forests of white and red rise from the seafloor. These are giant tube worms, some of them growing taller than a person. They are unlike almost any other animal on the planet. They have no mouth, no eyes, and no stomach. Instead, their bodies are packed with symbiotic bacteria.
The worms act as living bioreactors, drawing in the hot, mineral-rich water from the vents and delivering it to the bacteria housed inside them. The bacteria, in turn, convert the toxic chemicals into food, nourishing their host. The worms live inside protective white tubes made of chitin, with bright crimson plumes at their tips that wave gently in the current, absorbing chemicals from the water. To us, they seem impossibly alien. Creatures that thrive without sunlight, rooted in boiling, toxic water that would kill any other complex animal. And yet, they flourish, growing more than 6 feet long. The existence of these worms stunned the scientific world because it proved that complex, multicellular life could thrive in environments once thought to be completely uninhabitable. They are not just a curiosity, they are a target for bioprospecting.
The unique biological processes that allow them to detoxify and thrive on substances like hydrogen sulfide could hold immense value for industrial and medical applications. Near the vents of the deep ocean, the water can reach temperatures of more than 700 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than molten lead would be on the surface. You would think nothing could possibly live in such extremes, but life has a way of surprising us. Certain bacteria, known as extremophiles, thrive in this scalding water. They use the raw chemical energy to survive where everything else would be boiled away. These organisms form the very base of the entire vent food web. But more than that, they represent a biological gold mine. Their enzymes, evolved to function in extreme heat, are incredibly stable and valuable.
An enzyme from a deep-sea vent microbe is now a key component in the PCR technology used for DNA testing, a cornerstone of modern medicine and forensics, including the tests used to detect viruses like COVID-19. The potential applications are nearly limitless, from creating more efficient biofuels to developing new industrial catalysts. These organisms challenge our very definition of what life can endure. If life can exist in boiling, pressurized darkness on our own planet, then the possibility that it could also exist in the hidden oceans beneath the icy crusts of moons like Europa or Enceladus becomes dramatically more plausible. At the other extreme, some ocean creatures have adapted to live in water so cold it hovers just above the freezing point. In the deep Antarctic seas, fish swim through icy darkness where the temperature would cause instant frostbite in a human. To survive, many of these creatures produce natural antifreeze proteins in their blood. These remarkable proteins circulate through their bodies and prevent ice crystals from forming inside their cells, which would otherwise rupture and kill them. This adaptation allows them to live and thrive in conditions that would be instantly lethal to most other animals. The water is so cold it could freeze unprotected human skin on contact. Yet, life continues in delicate, beautiful, and slow-moving forms. Pale, almost transparent fish with ghostly bodies, slow-moving starfish, and entire communities living on the underside of the sea ice. Just like their heat-loving cousins, these cold-adapted organisms are a prime target for bioprospecting. Their antifreeze proteins could revolutionize cryopreservation, allowing us to freeze and store human organs for transplant with far less damage. The ocean reminds us that what feels impossible to us is merely ordinary for other creatures. It sounds like something from a dream or perhaps a nightmare. A fish climbing out of the water and walking deliberately across the land. Yet, in certain parts of the world, this is a daily reality. Mud skippers are small fish that can use their pectoral fins almost like legs, hauling their bodies up onto exposed mudflats when the tide recedes. They have evolved the remarkable ability to breathe air, not through lungs, but through their skin and the moist lining of their mouths and throats, allowing them to spend hours outside of the water. On land, they hop, climb, and even engage in territorial fights, their periscopic eyes blinking above the mud. Watching them scurry across the ground is like witnessing a live-action replay of one of the most pivotal moments in Earth's history. It is a glimpse of evolution in progress, a tangible reminder of that ancient, daring leap when the very first creatures transitioned from sea to land. Every movement the mud skipper makes is an echo of our own impossibly distant past, a whisper of Earth's foundational story of transformation and conquest. This is not just an animal adapting to a niche. It is a living demonstration of how life breaches the most fundamental environmental barriers, driven by the relentless pressures of survival to claim new territory. The ocean is full of such surprises, and one of the most delightful and tactically brilliant is the flying squid. These remarkable creatures can launch themselves from the sea, spreading their fins like wings and gliding through the air for astonishing distances. By rapidly and powerfully forcing water out of their bodies, they create a biological jet that propels them upward, sometimes soaring for more than 100 feet above the waves. To an observer, it looks as though a school of fish has suddenly taken flight, their silvery bodies flashing in the sunlight before they splash back down into the sea. Scientists believe they do this for one simple reason: to escape predators. It is an advanced, multi-domain evasion tactic. By launching into the air, they momentarily exit the aquatic battlefield, becoming an impossible target for a pursuing tuna or dolphin. For a few precious moments, these squid live in two worlds at once, blurring the boundary between sea and sky. They are creatures of the deep who have mastered the art of borrowing the freedom of the air before returning to the water's embrace. It is a high-energy, high-risk maneuver, but it represents a perfect evolutionary solution to the constant predator-prey arms race of the ocean. For centuries, sailors whispered stories of monstrous creatures lurking in the deep. Tentacled beasts so vast they could drag entire ships beneath the waves. In an age of science and reason, many dismissed these stories as superstition, the fearful folklore of uneducated men. But then, in the modern era, the evidence began to surface. Enormous circular scars on the bodies of sperm whales, marked by sucker rings the size of dinner plates. Mysterious, massive tentacles washing ashore after storms. And finally, the first grainy photographs and video footage of the creature itself, captured in its deep-sea lair. The giant squid is real. A ghostly, elusive animal with eyes the size of basketballs and tentacles stretching as long as a city bus. Rarely seen alive, it remains a creature of the deep twilight ocean, far from human eyes. Its discovery was more than a zoological footnote, it was a profound lesson. It transformed legend into reality, a humbling reminder that myth often hides a kernel of truth. The sailors' tales were not fantasy, they were fragmented intelligence reports from the front lines of the unknown. The giant squid proves that our ignorance of the deep sea is so profound that even our most fantastic monsters may be real, waiting silently in the dark. If the giant squid seems extraordinary, its even larger cousin, the colossal squid, is almost beyond belief. This deep-sea titan possesses the largest eyes of any known animal on Earth. Each one is as big as a dinner plate, up to a foot across. In the absolute blackness of the Antarctic deep, such enormous eyes are not a luxury, they are an advanced surveillance system. They are biological light-gathering instruments of incredible sensitivity, allowing the squid to detect the faintest traces of bioluminescence from its prey, or the distant shadow of its only known predator, the sperm whale. The colossal squid may grow to lengths exceeding 40 feet, and its tentacles are armed not just with suckers, but with sharp, rotating hooks, a brutally effective weapon system. And yet, despite its immense size and power, it remains one of the planet's greatest mysteries. Very few have ever been seen by humans, reminding us that even the largest creatures on Earth can hide from us in the deep.
It is an apex predator, an intelligence target of the natural world, a giant that proves the ocean's capacity to conceal its greatest secrets remains almost absolute. When people think of the Earth's greatest giants, dinosaurs invariably come to mind. But this is a failure of imagination, a historical bias. The truth is, the largest and most massive creature to ever live on our planet is alive today, swimming in our oceans. It is the blue whale. Stretching up to 100 feet long and weighing as much as 200 tons, a single blue whale outweighs even the most colossal sauropod dinosaur. Its tongue alone can weigh as much as a battle tank. Its mouth is so vast it could hold an entire city bus.
Despite this incomprehensible size, the blue whale survives by eating some of the smallest creatures in the ocean, tiny shrimp-like krill, which it gulps by the ton in massive mouthfuls. When a blue whale surfaces and exhales, its spout of mist and vapor can rise higher than a two-story house. To see one in the open ocean is not just a wildlife sighting. It is a direct confrontation with the absolute scale of life itself. It is vast, majestic, and humbling beyond words. In an age where humanity believes it has mastered the planet, the blue whale is a silent, swimming reminder that we are and always will be small in comparison to the true titans of our world. Inside the enormous body of a blue whale beats a heart unlike any other in the history of Earth. It is the size of a small car and can weigh more than 400 pounds.
With each slow, thunderous beat, it pumps gallons of blood through a network of arteries a small child could swim through them. Yet, despite its colossal size, the whale's pulse is surprisingly slow, sometimes dropping to as little as 2 beats per minute when it dives deep into the abyss in search of food. Only when it surfaces for air does the pace quicken, racing to reoxygenate its massive body. This mighty heart is the biological engine that sustains the largest animal our world has ever known. It powers journeys that span entire oceans and dives that descend thousands of feet below the waves into the crushing dark. To listen to its rhythm with advanced hydrophones would be like hearing the very drumbeat of the ocean itself. A slow, powerful, and ancient pulse that speaks to the sheer power and endurance of life in its most extreme form. Humpback whales are known for their haunting, beautiful songs. These are long, complex sequences of sounds that can last for hours. But these are not just noises. They are highly structured, repeating patterns, almost like a form of music or a complex coded language. Even more extraordinary is the strategic reach of these communications. Their low-frequency, rumbling notes can travel for astonishing distances underwater. In the right acoustic conditions, a whale song can be heard thousands of miles away, across an entire ocean basin. This is not mere communication. It is a form of biological, long-range acoustic broadcasting. Imagine a whale singing in the Pacific and another hearing its voice clearly from the other side of that vast blue expanse. Scientists believe these songs are a form of communication for attracting mates, navigating, or perhaps even a form of cultural tradition passed down from one generation of whales to the next. To hear one is to feel as though the ocean itself has found a voice. It is slow, deep, and resonant, carrying complex information across the largest and most challenging communication environment on the planet. It is music, yes, but it is also data written in water and time. Among dolphins, communication is astonishingly and perhaps unsettlingly complex. These intelligent mammals whistle, click, and chirp in patterns that researchers have studied for decades. One of the most fascinating and profound discoveries is that dolphins appear to give each other names. Each dolphin develops a unique signature whistle, a specific sound that identifies them as an individual, much like a name does for us. Other dolphins in their pod use these specific whistles to call them, sometimes even imitating the sound to get their attention. This is not just mimicry, it is the functional equivalent of addressing someone by name. It implies a level of self-awareness and social recognition that we often reserve exclusively for humans. It suggests that dolphins possess a sense of individuality, a vocal label recognized across their complex social groups. This discovery challenges the very foundations of how we think about language and consciousness in non-human animals.
In the quiet, underwater world, dolphins are not just whistling at random, they are calling to each other, one, by name. For humans, holding our breath for a minute or two feels like an achievement. But some marine mammals operate on a physiological level that is almost beyond our comprehension. Whales can dive for more than 2 hours without coming up for air.
The undisputed champion is the Cuvier's beaked whale, which has been recorded diving to depths of nearly 2 miles and staying submerged for over 120 minutes. To accomplish this incredible feat, these whales execute a controlled, systematic shutdown of their own bodies. They slow their heart rates dramatically, conserve oxygen within their muscles and blood, and allow certain non-essential organs to temporarily go dormant. They sink into the dark with calm precision, navigating and hunting by sound in an environment that would kill us in seconds. When they finally return to the surface, the rush of their exhaled breath explodes into the air like a release of hidden time. These dives are a masterclass in biological engineering, a reminder that the physical limits we feel in our own bodies are not universal laws. Life finds ways to stretch endurance into the unimaginable, adapting to conquer the most hostile environments on our planet.
The sperm whale is famous for its immense size and its deep, record-breaking dives. But it also holds another, more aggressive record. It is the creator of the loudest sound produced by any living creature on Earth. When a sperm whale clicks to communicate or to hunt, the sound can reach over 200 decibels, a concussive force louder than a jet engine at takeoff. These clicks are not just noise, they are the most powerful and sophisticated biological sonar system on the planet. The clicks are used for echolocation, bouncing off objects in the absolute darkness of the ocean depths, and returning echoes that allow the whale to see with sound, painting a detailed three-dimensional picture of its surroundings. They can also carry messages across miles of water, allowing these deep-diving predators to coordinate hunts and communicate even when separated by vast distances in the silent abyss. For a human, being close to such a sound would be overwhelming, physically dangerous. But for sperm whales, it is a natural language, a hunting tool, and a tactical advantage woven into the very fabric of their lives. In the stillness of the ocean's depths, their voices echo like thunder, a powerful reminder that the silent dark is very much alive. Long before the first forests grew on this planet, before even the earliest dinosaurs walked the earth, jellyfish were already drifting silently through the seas. Fossil evidence shows they have existed for more than 500 million years, making them some of the oldest and most successful multicellular organisms on Earth. They have no bones, no brain, no heart, and no blood. Yet they have survived every single mass extinction event our planet has ever faced, adapting to every catastrophic change. Their bodies are made mostly of water, delicate and translucent.
Yet their simple, efficient design has endured for 500 million years. In many ways, they are living fossils, windows into a time when the Earth was young and the seas were the center of all life. To watch a jellyfish drift, pulsing gently with light and motion, is to see the deep past alive in the present. They are not just ancient, they are the ultimate survivors. And today, their resilience has a darker meaning. As our oceans warm and acidify, and as overfishing depletes other species, jellyfish populations are exploding in many parts of the world. They are a sign of a system in distress, a beautiful, silent indicator of ecological collapse. Among the many strange abilities of the jellyfish, one species has earned the nickname the immortal jellyfish.
Known to science as Turritoxus dohrnii, it possesses an extraordinary, almost unbelievable ability. It can reverse its own aging process. When stressed, injured, or near the end of its natural life, it can transform its adult body back into a juvenile polyp stage, essentially starting its life cycle all over again. In theory, this means it could live forever, sidestepping death by continually rejuvenating itself. In practice, most do not survive indefinitely, as predators and disease still claim them. But the very possibility of biological immortality is staggering. This small, delicate creature, drifting unnoticed through the oceans, may hold the genetic secrets to cellular regeneration and life extension that human science has only begun to imagine. It is a biological holy grail. The race to understand and replicate this process is a quiet but intense frontier of biotechnology, with implications that could reshape medicine and society. It is as though the ocean itself whispered a secret, that time does not always have to flow in only one direction. At first glance, the Portuguese man-of-war looks like a single bizarre jellyfish drifting with a delicate purple-blue sail above the waves. But this is a master of deception. It is not one lone organism. It is a colony, a floating city of individual animals called zooids that live and work together as one. This is a superorganism. Each zooid has a specific specialized role. One forms the gas-filled float. Others are responsible for feeding. Others handle reproduction. And long, trailing tentacles are the designated defense and hunting specialists. None of these individual animals can survive alone, but together they form a highly efficient floating organism with venom-filled tentacles that can stretch for more than 100 feet. The man-of-war has no central brain, no skeleton, and no heart. Yet it hunts with deadly precision, paralyzing fish and sweeping them into its shared digestive system. It is a living lesson in cooperation and networked intelligence, a reminder that sometimes survival depends not on individual strength, but on the ability to become part of something larger than yourself. In the ocean, even the most fundamental aspects of identity can be fluid, weaponized for survival. Many fish species are not locked into being male or female for their entire lives. They can and do change. This is sequential hermaphrodism, and it is not a random occurrence. It is a highly efficient strategic adaptation. Clownfish, for example, live in rigid social hierarchies led by a single dominant female. If she dies or is removed, the largest male in the group undergoes a rapid biological transformation. His hormones shift, his reproductive organs are reshaped, and he becomes the new, fully functional matriarch of the group. This ability is a masterpiece of social resilience. The overall mood of survival in the ocean is not always about competition. Sometimes it is about forming unbreakable alliances. This mutualistic bond is an elegant reminder that survival in the ocean is not always about competition. Sometimes it is about forming unbreakable alliances. The overall mood should be relaxed, engaging, and comfortable, perfect for bedtime reading and space narration. The tempo should be around 0.8. It ensures that the reproductive leadership of the group is never vacant for long, providing a seamless transfer of power that guarantees the population's continuity. In a hostile environment where losses are common, this biological mechanism for self-repair is a profound evolutionary advantage. It is a system that allows populations to adapt instantly to catastrophic shifts in their social structure. To us, the idea of such a transformation feels impossible. But in the high-stakes environment of the sea, change is not just a part of life, it is a core survival strategy.
The clownfish is known for its bright orange and white stripes, but its most remarkable trait is its strategic partnership with the sea anemone. This is not a gentle friendship, it is a military alliance. The anemone is a living fortress, its tentacles armed with stinging cells that can paralyze and kill most other fish on contact. Yet, the clownfish swims freely among them, protected by a specialized mucus layer on its skin that renders it immune to the sting. This immunity is not a gift, it is a negotiated access pass. In return for the sanctuary of the anemone's deadly embrace, the clownfish provides essential services. It acts as a mobile defense unit, aggressively driving away parasites and predators that might harm its host. It also functions as a maintenance crew, cleaning the anemone and luring prey into its deadly grasp. The anemone provides unparalleled protection from predators, while the clownfish ensures its partner remains healthy and well-fed. Neither could thrive as well without the other. This mutualistic bond is an elegant reminder that survival in the ocean is not always about competition. Sometimes it is about forming unbreakable alliances.
When we watch a clownfish darting safely among the waving arms of its host, we are witnessing a living contract, a pact of mutual defense woven into the very fabric of life beneath the sea. Sharks are among the oldest and most perfect predators on Earth. They first appeared in the oceans more than 400 million years ago, long before the first trees grew on land and hundreds of millions of years before the dinosaurs. While forests are a relatively recent innovation in Earth's history, sharks were already patrolling the oceans as apex predators when the land was barren and lifeless. Over the vast expanse of geological time, they have survived multiple mass extinctions, including the one that wiped out the dinosaurs. They have outlived and outhunted countless competitors, adapting to new worlds as continents shifted and climates changed. Their bodies, honed by an almost unimaginable period of evolutionary pressure, are so ruthlessly effective that their basic design has remained relatively unchanged for hundreds of millions of years. This is not a sign of stagnation, it is a sign of perfection. When you see a shark gliding silently through the water today, you are not just looking at an animal. You are watching a live-in weapon system, a relic of a time before our own, a design so lethally efficient it has outlasted entire ages of Earth's history. They are a profound reminder that some of the planet's greatest survivors are not on land at all, but have always been waiting in the endless depths of the sea, the silent, ancient rulers of the blue world. Sharks are legendary for their sense of smell. The truth, however, is even more extraordinary than the myth. Many shark species can detect a single drop of blood in a body of water as large as an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Their nostrils are lined with sensory cells so exquisitely sensitive that they can pick up infinitesimal chemical traces from miles away. This is not just a sense, it is a biological tracking system of unparalleled sophistication. It allows them to hunt wounded prey across the vast featureless expanse of the ocean where visibility is often near zero. This ability transforms the water itself into a carrier of intelligence, a medium through which the faintest signals of life and death are transmitted. For sharks, smell is not just a sense, it is a way of seeing the ocean, of reading its hidden messages with a clarity we can barely comprehend. While many people picture jellyfish when they think of glowing sea life, some sharks too can shine in the dark. Certain deep-water species, like the lantern shark, produce their own bioluminescent light along their bellies. This is not for simple illumination. It is a highly advanced form of active camouflage known as counter-illumination. The glowing patterns on their underside perfectly match the faint light filtering down from the surface, making them nearly invisible to predators lurking below.
This is nature's version of military stealth technology. It is a living cloaking device. Some species also use their glowing stripes and patterns to communicate with one another in the crushing darkness, perhaps signaling mates or issuing warnings to rivals. Their light is entirely their own, a biological lantern that illuminates the abyss. We are only now beginning to understand the complex chemistry and control behind this glow, a mystery that is still unfolding.
A natural male narrator with a warm, friendly tone, fluid and easy to follow, like a light science podcast. Keep your voice clear and coherent with a gentle intonation that is both intelligent and soothing. Pauses when necessary. The overall mood should be relaxed, engaging, and comfortable, perfect for bedtime reading and space narration. The tempo should be around 0.8. Imagine a predator gliding silently through the deep, its own body generating a ghostly shimmer that makes it disappear. In the frigid, black waters of the North Atlantic lives one of the most extraordinary creatures on Earth, the Greenland shark. Slow-moving and almost prehistoric in appearance, these massive sharks can live for more than 4 centuries, making them the longest-lived vertebrate known to science. Some individuals alive today may have been swimming through the deep when Galileo first pointed his telescope to the heavens, or when the Ming Dynasty ruled China. Their secret to longevity lies in their brutally slow metabolism, a direct result of the frigid, energy-poor waters they inhabit. Moving sluggishly through the darkness, they conserve every ounce of energy, living at a pace so unhurried it stretches across centuries. They are not just old, they are living archives. Their tissues hold chemical records of the ocean's past, a biological history book containing data on centuries of climate shifts and pollution. To imagine a creature that has lived for 400 years quietly drifting beneath the Arctic ice is to glimpse time itself flowing at a different speed. Few creatures are as instantly recognizable or as brilliantly engineered as the hammerhead shark. With its wide, hammer-shaped head stretching out like a wing, it seems almost designed by an artist's imagination. But this unusual shape is a masterpiece of functional design. It is a multi-purpose sensor platform. With its eyes positioned far apart, a hammerhead possesses exceptional binocular vision, allowing it to judge distances with deadly accuracy. But the true advantage lies in what we cannot see. The wide head is packed with special sensory organs called ampullae of Lorenzini, which detect the faint electrical signals given off by all living creatures.
The overall mood. This combination of enhanced sight and electroreception turns the hammerhead into one of nature's most extraordinary predators, a hunter that can detect concealed targets with an eerie, unmatched awareness. Millions of years ago, the oceans were ruled by a predator so enormous it dwarfed even today's great white shark. This was the megalodon, a shark that could grow more than 60 feet long, with jaws powerful enough to crush the bones of whales. Its teeth, some as large as a human hand, are still found in sediments around the world, relics of a creature that once sat at the undisputed apex of the global marine food web. For 20 million years, megalodons were the rulers of the ocean, a true global superpower. Their extinction, brought on by changing climates and increased competition, was a planetary-scale event that created a massive power vacuum, reshaping the ocean's ecosystems forever. The megalodon may be gone, but its legend lives on, a chilling case study in how even the most dominant power can be brought to an end by forces beyond its control. Though the great megalodon disappeared millions of years ago, the ocean remains a living time capsule.
Traces of ancient seas and the creatures that ruled them still live on in modern fish. The coelacanth is the most stunning example. This strange lobe-finned fish was thought to have gone extinct with the dinosaurs over 65 million years ago. It was known only from cold stone fossils. Then, in 1938, one was found alive, pulled from the deep waters off the coast of South Africa.
It was a shocking discovery, the biological equivalent of finding a living dinosaur in a remote jungle. The coelacanth looks almost completely unchanged from its fossilized ancestors, a blueprint that has survived for hundreds of millions of years. Its fleshy, lobe-like fins resemble primitive limbs, a haunting echo of the evolutionary leap that once carried the first vertebrates onto land. Other species, like the sturgeon and the hagfish, also retain ancient features that connect them directly to some of the earliest life forms on our planet. These living fossils are more than just curiosities. They are a testament to the incredible stability of the deep ocean environment, an abyss so isolated and unchanging that it has allowed these legacy systems to persist for eons, while the world on the surface was repeatedly remade by ice ages and asteroid impacts. Far beneath the seafloor, locked within icy, crystalline structures, lies an enormous and deeply volatile storehouse of energy. These are methane hydrates, a strange frozen substance where methane gas is trapped inside cages of frozen water. It looks like ice, but it is flammable. It is fire ice. And the quantity is staggering. Scientists estimate there may be more carbon energy stored in these deep-sea hydrates than in all of the world's known coal, oil, and natural gas reserves combined. This is not just a scientific fact, it is a geopolitical game-changer. This frozen fuel, waiting in the dark, represents a potential energy source of almost unimaginable scale. The nation that develops the technology to safely and economically extract it could shift the global balance of power overnight. But this immense prize comes with an equally immense risk. These hydrates are stable only under the immense pressure and extreme cold of the deep.
If they are destabilized, either by rising ocean temperatures or by clumsy drilling attempts, the consequences could be catastrophic. A sudden massive release of methane, a greenhouse gas far more potent than carbon dioxide, could trigger a runaway climate feedback loop, warming the planet at a rate we cannot possibly control. It is both a treasure chest and a time bomb, a hidden reservoir that could either power our future or end it. We often think of tsunamis as being caused by massive undersea earthquakes, but the ocean has another, more insidious way of creating these enormous, destructive waves: underwater landslides. Along the steep, unstable slopes of submarine canyons, vast amounts of sediment can suddenly give way, tumbling downward into the abyss in a colossal avalanche of mud, sand, and rock. This sudden movement displaces huge volumes of water, sending shock waves outward that can build into towering waves. Some of the largest and most mysterious tsunamis in Earth's history may have been triggered this way, their origins hidden silently beneath the sea. The evidence is carved into the geology of our coastlines. 8,000 years ago, a massive section of the Norwegian continental shelf, an area the size of Scotland, collapsed into the sea. This event, known as the Storegga Slide, triggered a mega tsunami with waves hundreds of feet high that swept across the North Atlantic, devastating coastal communities from Greenland to Britain. These underwater avalanches still occur today, though most are smaller and go unnoticed. But the risk remains. A major submarine landslide today could sever the undersea fiber optic cables that carry 99% of all international data, shutting down the global internet in an instant.
It could rupture deep-sea oil pipelines, causing environmental disasters. The ocean floor is not a fixed, stable, dead thing.
The ocean floor is a giant magnetic tape recorder. It is a hard drive, preserving a complete and uncorrupted record of our planet's geological and magnetic history. As molten rock wells up at the mid-ocean ridges and cools, tiny magnetic minerals suspended within it align themselves with the Earth's magnetic field at that moment, freezing in place like billions of microscopic compass needles. Over millions of years, as the planet's magnetic field has catastrophically flipped, with the North and South poles trading places in a violent planetary reversal, these rocks have recorded the changes. The result is a perfect, symmetrical series of magnetic stripes across the seafloor, alternating bands of magnetic orientation that stretch for thousands of miles. When scientists first mapped these patterns in the mid-20th century, it was the smoking gun, the stunning, irrefutable evidence that proved the theory of continental drift and seafloor spreading. The ocean floor is not just a landscape. It is a history book written in stone, a flight data recorder for our world, carrying the precise memory of Earth's shifting poles and drifting continents across the vast expanse of time. This is not just historical data. By studying this record, we can build more accurate models of planetary dynamics, helping to predict future geological shifts and identify new regions of high potential for mineral and energy exploration. In the deep ocean, along these volcanic ridges, there are structures known as black smokers. They look like twisted, demonic chimneys rising from the seafloor, belching out thick, dark plumes of superheated water. This water, erupting at temperatures nearly as hot as molten lead, is a chemical soup, saturated with dissolved minerals and metals stripped from the rock below. When this superheated fluid gushes into the near-freezing seawater, the dissolved minerals solidify instantly, precipitating out and falling back down in clouds that look exactly like black smoke. Around these vents, in this toxic, high-pressure environment, life thrives in surprising and dense abundance. Giant tube worms, strange clams, and swarms of pale shrimp feed on bacteria that metabolize these chemicals for energy. In a place without a single photon of sunlight, these ecosystems are powered by the raw geothermal heat of the Earth's core. But these are more than just biological oases. They are underwater forges, depositing high-grade mineral ores on the seafloor. These deposits are incredibly rich in copper, zinc, gold, and silver, but also in the rare earth elements essential for high technology and defense applications. These black smokers are now at the center of a new, undeclared gold rush as nations and corporations race to map and lay claim to these vent fields in international waters, positioning themselves for a future of robotic deep-sea mining. When we imagine Earth's habitats, we tend to picture the horizontal spaces, forests, deserts, or grasslands. But this is a two-dimensional view of a three-dimensional world. The single largest habitat on our planet lies beneath the waves. The deep sea, defined as everything below the point where sunlight fades away, makes up the vast majority of our planet's living space. It stretches across more than half the planet's surface and plunges miles deep. A volume of living space so enormous it makes all terrestrial habitats combined seem like a thin, fragile veneer. Within this realm live countless species, most of them still completely unknown to science, all perfectly adapted to absolute darkness, crushing pressure, and relentless cold. This is not a static, empty void. It is a place of quiet but constant motion, where slow, powerful currents move nutrients across the globe, and where life takes on forms unlike anything found on land. From the ghostly glow of a jellyfish to the unseen terror of a colossal squid, the deep sea is Earth's great hidden wilderness.
It is the biggest ecosystem we have, and the one we understand the least. It is our planet's strategic depth, a domain that absorbs the majority of our excess heat and carbon, but whose stability and health we are only now beginning to recognize as critical to our own survival. In the twilight and midnight zones of the ocean, where the last vestiges of sunlight cannot penetrate, some fish have evolved to create their own light. The most famous and most terrifying of these are the anglerfish. They carry a biological weapon system, a glowing lure that dangles from a stalk on their heads, like a lantern in the eternal night. This lantern is not a simple light. It is a symbiotic device, a specialized pouch at the tip of the stalk that houses a colony of bioluminescent bacteria. The fish waves this glowing orb in the darkness, a flickering candle of false hope. Smaller creatures, curious or mistaking the light for a smaller meal, are drawn in, swimming directly into the waiting, needle-filled jaws of the angler, which swallows them in an instant. This is not just hunting, it is psychological warfare. The anglerfish doesn't chase its prey, it manipulates its prey's own instincts, turning curiosity into a fatal weakness. It is a perfect living ambush predator, a testament to how life in the deep has weaponized deception in the most extraordinary and inventive ways.
Deep in the ocean, in the crushing blackness of the bathyal zone, lives a creature so fierce-looking it seems born of nightmares. It is the fang-tooth fish. Its teeth are so enormous, so grotesquely out of proportion to its body, that they cannot even fit comfortably inside its mouth. Instead, when it closes its jaw, the lower fangs slide into special sockets, like biological scabbards, built into the roof of its mouth to avoid impaling its own brain. But despite its terrifying appearance, the fangtooth is not a giant. Most grow only to about 6 inches long. This is not a monster. It is a masterpiece of weaponized biology, a creature perfectly engineered for a low-probability, high-consequence environment. In the deep sea, food is scarce and encounters are rare. A missed opportunity means starvation. The fangtooth's needle-sharp teeth are not for chewing. They are for ensuring that any prey, unlucky enough to come within range, cannot, under any circumstances, escape. This is nature's equivalent of a first-strike weapon system. In the vast, empty darkness, the fangtooth is a reminder that in the most extreme environments, evolution prioritizes lethality and efficiency above all else. Every feature is a tool, and every encounter is final. The gulper eel is another creature of extremes, a living embodiment of strategic opportunism. Its body is long and slender, almost whip-like, but its mouth is a biological marvel of disproportionate scale. It can balloon outward, expanding into a vast dark net. This unique adaptation allows it to swallow prey much larger than itself, even creatures half its own length. The gulper eel lives in the deep ocean, where meals are scarce and unpredictable. Its strategy is not to hunt for specific targets, but to be ready for any target of opportunity. When something edible, of any size, comes within reach, the eel opens its enormous jaws, transforming itself into a gaping void that can engulf almost anything. Its body then stretches to accommodate the meal, allowing it to feast even when prey is exceptionally rare. To enhance its chances, the gulper's tail often glows with a bright pinkish light, a sophisticated biological lure used to attract unsuspecting victims in the dark. Watching one open its mouth is like watching a shadow turn into a cave. The ocean itself seems to gape open, a living trap ready to swallow whatever drifts too close.
Perhaps no creature better embodies the eerie, brutal ingenuity of the deep sea than the anglerfish. We have discussed its glowing lure, the perfect ambush tool. But its reproductive strategy is even more bizarre, a chilling solution to the immense logistical challenge of finding a mate in the vast empty darkness. Female anglerfish are the hunters, growing much larger than the males. In some species, the tiny males have only one purpose: to find a female. When a male succeeds, he bites into her side and fuses with her permanently, becoming little more than a living, parasitic source of sperm. His circulatory system merges with hers. His organs atrophy, except for his testes. He becomes a permanent attachment, a biological component of the female, ready to fertilize her eggs whenever she is ready. It is a grotesque but ruthlessly effective strategy. It ensures that when a female finally finds food in the vast, dark ocean, she also has a mate attached, guaranteeing the continuation of the species. The anglerfish reminds us that in the deep sea, life is both terrifying and ingenious, evolving solutions to problems of survival that we can barely imagine.
In the darkest waters, camouflage becomes a matter of manipulating physics. It has evolved along two competing technological paths. Many deep-sea creatures have become nearly invisible, their bodies as transparent as glass. Some jellyfish are so clear you can see their internal organs glowing faintly within. Certain fish, like the glass squid, have bodies that are almost entirely see-through, with only their eyes visible as faint shadows. This is a form of passive stealth. In the vast emptiness of the deep, where there are few places to hide, this invisibility protects them from predators. Light passes straight through them, making them vanish into the water around them. But there is another, more aggressive doctrine of stealth. Instead of becoming transparent, some creatures have cloaked themselves in skin so black it absorbs nearly every photon of light that touches it. These ultra-black fish have skin that traps over 99.9% of light, making them functionally invisible even when a bioluminescent creature shines a searchlight directly on them. Their skin acts like a biological black hole for light, a living velvet that scatters photons inward so that nothing reflects back. This is active stealth, the natural equivalent of the radar-absorbent materials used on stealth bombers. These creatures are not just hiding, they are erasing themselves from the visual field. A reminder that the ocean is the original proving ground for the technologies of unseen warfare. It may surprise you to know that the ocean is the single largest repository of gold on the planet, holding far more than all the mines ever dug on land. Dissolved in seawater and trapped in the sediments across the vast ocean floor lies an estimated 20 million tons of this precious metal. But this is not a treasure waiting to be collected. It is a profound lesson in scale and economic reality. The gold is spread so infinitesimally thin that extracting it with current technology is an economic impossibility. Each liter of seawater contains only a few billionths of a gram. Yet the thought is staggering. Beneath the waves, glittering invisibly in the dark, lies more gold than all of humanity has ever held in its hands. It is a treasure chest so vast, so completely beyond our reach, that it serves as a humbling reminder of how small our own accumulated wealth truly is. The ocean hides its riches not in sparkling piles, but in an endless, untouchable, elemental abundance. But there is another kind of treasure on the seafloor, one that is concentrated, historical, and often the subject of intense international dispute. Beneath the waves, hidden from sight, lie the remains of countless ships.
It is estimated that more than 3 million shipwrecks rest on the seafloor, ranging from ancient Roman trading vessels to the steel titans of World War II. Each one is a time capsule, a frozen moment of history, preserving a story of commerce, exploration, or conflict beneath layers of sand and coral. Some hold legendary cargoes of gold and silver, like the Spanish galleon San Jose, a prize worth billions that is currently at the center of a legal battle between nations. Others hold everyday objects, pottery, tools, and personal effects that whisper stories of lives long past. But these wrecks are more than just archaeological sites. They often become artificial reefs, their broken hulls providing a new habitat for fish, corals, and sea turtles. The ocean is both a graveyard and a guardian, holding the remains of human journeys in its timeless, watchful silence.
In the coldest, darkest corners of the sea, time itself seems to pause. The normal process of decay is arrested. Shipwrecks that would quickly rot away on land can remain almost perfectly intact for centuries, even millennia, in the deep ocean. The icy, oxygen-poor depths slow decay to a near standstill, preventing wood from rotting and metal from rusting. In the Black Sea, where the deep water is almost completely anoxic, ancient Greek ships from the time of Plato have been found with their masts still standing, their ropes still coiled on the deck, and their cargo still in the hold. These are not wrecks, they are underwater ghosts, preserved in a state of suspended animation. To peer into a wreck like this is to look directly into another age, as if centuries have collapsed into a single moment. The ocean, in these unique environments, acts as the world's greatest museum, a silent vault that holds history in a perfect state of preservation until we develop the technology to discover it. Not only ships, but entire cities lie beneath the ocean's surface. Off the coast of Egypt, the ancient port city of Thonis Heracleion once thrived, a bustling gateway to the Nile filled with towering temples and busy markets. For over 1,000 years, it was lost to history, believed to be a myth. Then it was rediscovered, its stone columns and colossal statues hidden underwater, swallowed by the shifting seabed. In Greece, the submerged ruins of Pavlopetri reveal the streets, buildings, and tombs of a Bronze Age town that sank around 3,000 years ago. These drowned cities are not just archaeological curiosities. They are stark physical warnings. They are proof of how fragile human settlements can be in the face of rising seas and shifting land.
The forces that submerged these ancient cities are the same forces that now threaten our modern coastal megacities, from Miami to Jakarta. Divers who explore these ruins describe the surreal experience of swimming through stone streets and past silent doorways, as if visiting a dreamlike version of history. The ocean does not just erase, it preserves, holding the echoes of civilizations that once thrived along its shores, now resting silently in its depths as a warning to our own. Between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico lies a region of the ocean that has been branded into the public imagination. It is the Bermuda Triangle. For centuries, sailors and pilots have told stories of ships and aircraft that vanished without a trace within its fluid, ill-defined boundaries. The legends speak of compasses spinning wildly, of sudden unnatural storms, and of vessels disappearing from a calm sea. While many of these incidents can be rationally explained by the region's unique and dangerous natural conditions, the volatile weather of the Gulf Stream, the potential for massive rogue waves, and the documented magnetic anomalies, the mystery itself serves a purpose. It has become a symbol of the unknown, a modern myth that overshadows the real, quantifiable risks of maritime and aerial navigation in a high-traffic strategic corridor. The legend of the Bermuda Triangle is not a story about paranormal forces.
It is a story about how we, as humans, grapple with the fact that even in the 21st century, the ocean can still swallow our most advanced technology without a trace. It is a reminder that the sea is a domain that does not always give up its dead or its secrets. Beneath the surface of the ocean, far from the dramatic storms and legends, flows a hidden, silent river.
It is a system of deep currents that circles the entire planet, a process so vast and slow it operates on a timescale of centuries. This is the Great Ocean Conveyor Belt. It is powered by a delicate interplay of temperature and salinity. Cold, dense water sinks at the poles, pulling warmer surface water behind it, then creeps slowly across the vast abyssal plains of the ocean floor. A single parcel of water may take 1,000 years to complete one full journey, traveling from the Atlantic to the Indian to the Pacific and back again. Along the way, it carries life-giving oxygen to the deep, transports nutrients that fuel global fisheries, and absorbs and sequesters immense quantities of heat and carbon, linking every part of the ocean into one vast interconnected system. This is not just a current, it is the planet's ultimate life support machine, its primary climate regulator. But its stability is now in question. The influx of cold, fresh meltwater from Greenland threatens to disrupt this ancient rhythm, a change that could have catastrophic, non-linear consequences for global climate and civilization. Twice every day, the sea rises and falls in a rhythm as old as time itself. These are the tides, caused by the relentless gravitational pull of the moon, which tugs on Earth's oceans, drawing the water into a vast bulge that moves as the planet rotates. The sun also plays a role, sometimes strengthening this pull, sometimes softening it. This celestial dance is the oldest and most predictable force on Earth, and it has shaped human history. It has governed naval warfare, dictating the timing of amphibious assaults, from the Normandy landings to modern special operations. It nourishes the tidal marshes that are nurseries for a huge portion of the world's commercial fish stocks. For thousands of years, it has guided sailors, determining when ships could safely leave harbor or cross shallow passages. To stand on a beach as the water draws back and then surges forward is to witness the invisible touch of the moon itself, a silent, powerful reminder of our planet's unbreakable connection to the cosmos. Most tides rise and fall predictably, but a few times each year, when the sun, moon, and Earth align in a perfect syzygy, their combined gravitational pull creates what are known as king tides. These are the highest and most dramatic tides of the year. These surges can raise sea levels several feet higher than normal, flooding coastal communities, covering roads, and swallowing entire beaches. For those who live near the shore, a king tide is no longer a simple curiosity. It is a dress rehearsal for the future. It is a glimpse of what higher sea levels will look like as our climate changes. In cities around the world, from Venice to Miami, king tides now regularly push saltwater into the streets, overwhelming drainage systems and contaminating freshwater supplies. For strategic planners, they are a stark warning. Critical infrastructure, including major naval bases, ports, and power plants, lie in the path of these rising waters. To watch a king tide roll in is to see the ocean calmly and inexorably claim its space, reminding us that the boundary we have drawn between land and sea is not a permanent line, but a temporary negotiation in which the ocean always, eventually, has the final say. When a massive earthquake or a submarine landslide displaces a vast column of water, the result is a tsunami. This is not a wave in the conventional sense. It is a surge of energy, a displaced mass of the ocean itself, moving not just across a beach, but across entire oceans.
Unlike ordinary waves, which are driven by wind on the surface, a tsunami is a movement of the entire water column, from the seafloor to the surface. In the deep ocean, they can race across the sea at speeds of 500 miles per hour, as fast as a commercial jet airplane. They may appear small and almost unnoticeable in the open ocean, only a few feet high. But as they approach the shallow water of a coast, their immense energy compresses and they rise into towering, destructive walls. A tsunami that begins off the coast of Japan can reach the shores of North and South America in less than a day, delivering its energy with devastating precision. The global network of sensors and satellites designed to track them is a marvel of international cooperation, but their power remains humbling and absolute. Each tsunami is a brutal reminder that the ocean is not a quiet, passive expanse. It is a restless force capable of projecting catastrophic power across planetary distances. But the Earth is not the only force that can weaponize the sea. The atmosphere can do it as well. When powerful storms like hurricanes sweep across the ocean, the combination of extreme low pressure and ferocious winds can push the sea itself onto the land. This is a storm surge, a massive and rapid rise in sea level that can lift the water higher than the roof of a house. Unlike a regular tide, it comes suddenly, a dome of water arriving with crashing waves and torrential rain. During major hurricanes, the storm surge is often the most destructive force, more so than the wind. It can flood entire cities, topple protective seawalls, and permanently reshape coastlines overnight. For strategic planners, storm surges represent a critical vulnerability. Key naval bases, commercial ports, and energy infrastructure are located on low-lying coastal land, directly in the path of these events. The multi-billion-dollar cost of a single major surge event can cripple a regional economy and disrupt global supply chains for months. Each surge is a reminder that the boundary we draw between the ocean and the shore is a temporary, fragile line, always shifting under the immense power of water. It can be difficult to grasp the raw kinetic energy contained in moving water. A single large wave, driven by a powerful storm or a distant earthquake, can release as much energy as a small tactical nuclear weapon. Imagine a wall of water rushing across the sea with the force to lift 100,000-ton ships, erase coastlines, and pulverize reinforced concrete. This is not an exaggeration, it is a matter of physics. The sheer density and momentum of water give it an impact force that is almost without equal. Yet, unlike the violence of human weapons, the ocean's power is not meant to destroy. It is simply part of its eternal, indifferent rhythm. To feel the ground tremble beneath the crash of such a wave is to understand how small our most powerful creations are when measured against the sea. The Pacific Ocean is so vast it defies easy comprehension. Stretching from Asia to the Americas, it covers more than 60 million square miles. It is larger than all of Earth's continents combined. This is not just a body of water, it is the primary strategic theater of the 21st century.
The overall major sea lanes, the critical naval choke points, and the rising tensions between the United States and China are all playing out across this immense blue stage. Its waters contain countless islands, deep trenches that could hide entire submarine fleets, and ecosystems that fuel the economies of nations. When our astronauts look back at Earth, the Pacific dominates the view, a shimmering, almost unbroken canvas of blue. It is a world unto itself, a reminder that water, not land, is the true ruler of our planet's surface. Long ago, the Earth's continents were fused together in a single landmass known as Pangaea. But immense, violent forces deep beneath the crust tore this supercontinent apart, opening a crack that widened over millennia into the Atlantic Ocean. That process is still happening today. Along the mid-Atlantic ridge, new seafloor is constantly being created as molten rock wells up, pushing the continents farther apart. The Atlantic grows a few inches wider every year, a slow, relentless reshaping of the world map. This ocean, which for centuries was the highway of empires and the artery of global trade between Europe, Africa, and the Americas, was once just a narrow rift. Its very existence is a reminder that even oceans are temporary features in the endless, violent story of our planet. The Indian Ocean is unique among the world's great seas. Unlike the Pacific or the Atlantic, its circulation is not governed by steady, globe-spanning currents alone. Instead, it breathes with the powerful, seasonal rhythm of the monsoons. Each year, the winds reverse direction in a dramatic, planet-shaping shift. In the summer, warm air rising over the superheated landmass of Asia pulls moist ocean winds inland, bringing the heavy, life-giving rains that sustain billions of people. In the winter, the pattern reverses, blowing dry air back out to sea. This seasonal heartbeat has not just shaped the climate, it has shaped human history, guiding trade, agriculture, and conquest for thousands of years.